Cool. Questions. Who has questions? Taran, I know you had a few, so I'm happy to answer yours first.
Right, Santino, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I had some questions that I asked you in your DMs, and also one question that came up here is when Amit and I don't know who it was. Um, a lot of times when you ask a question and then there are several other questions that are answered by the prospect without you having to ask them, but then you insist on asking that question or the script insists. So do we have to ask those questions anyway, even when they have already been answered, just to highlight them? Or yeah,
Good,
just
good,
wanted to understand that. Yeah.
good question. So it depends, number one, how advanced you are, and number two, how happy you are with the response they've given you. If they've given you an in-depth response and you physically know, fucking hell, I'm not going to get any more out of this guy, I would skip the question. So the
Okay.
questions are there to guide you through to the end of the call to close to guarantee a close. You don't have to always use the questions on the script. It's designed to get answers out of them. If they've already given you the answers, just move on to the next bit. However, if you feel that they haven't given you enough and it's a bit surface level, probe, ask more questions, ask the questions that are on the script to get the information that you need. Like the questions, just by looking at the questions, you know what information you need off the back of those questions.
Right. So what I'm trying to understand here, Santino, is it just the answer to the question that we are looking for, or is it like, or are we also like by asking the question, we are trying to emphasize a certain point to the prospect? I don't know. I was just trying to understand if it is just the information that we're trying to get, or are we
Mm.
actually, or is it
No,
just it is a stage?
no.
Uh, uh,
Have you gone through the videos on the portal yet?
I am going through them.
Cool. Okay. So the goal of the fact find is to do a number of things. Number one, for you to get the data,
Yeah.
so you know how the prospect wants to be sold and needs to be sold, so you can use that
Right.
information, not necessarily use that information against them, but use that information against them to sell them. Number one. Number two, it's to bring up their pain points and their desires, because this
Yep.
is where the gap is created. If they've got a problem and where they're currently at and where they want to be, you bridge that via you're the solution and you bridge that via your presentation and what you're selling. That's number two. Number three, you'll notice the questions are designed to get the prospect. So when they answer them, to further sell themselves on the
Right.
idea of what it is that you're selling, and to also talk them out of any potential other things. So you're
Good.
preempting objections as well. So partner objection, you're preempting. Why are you doing remote high ticket sales over these other things? You're talking them away from potentially going with other opportunities that they could go with and getting them to talk themselves into working with you instead, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Got it. All right. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
No, no
Santino,
problem.
I've a question regarding it popped up a few times
Fire away.
when people were saying why not a different opportunity and stuff, and then a lot of the prospects were saying, "Oh, I've tried econ, I've tried this, that, and the other," and there was a big advancement of money or a big spend. Now, would you isolate that at that point and then say, "Okay, well, what is your idea of a big spend, or like what were we talking about to stop you before?" Or would you kind of flag it and then wait till it shows its head later?
So I would do a bit of both. So I'd be like, okay, cool. In terms of big spend, what do you mean? Oh yeah, so I had to pay for a course, but I didn't just have to pay for a course. I then had to pay for like products and ads and this and that. Right, okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
Okay.
I always say with opportunities like that, they're startup businesses. You have to invest a ton of money up front with no guarantee of what you're going to make. At least with us, you invest in your training, you get the skill set, then you go into a company and you're working for that company where you make money from day one. You don't have to run the business, you don't have to take on any of the liability. You just get the skill set and get to work. So then I take that opportunity to say you invest in training. So I plant that seed so it's there.
Mm.
So if they've got any issues with investing again, it'll come up at that point, basically.
Cool. So you'd tackle it then on there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's the more objections you can tackle before the
Get off.
presentation,
Yeah.
the second you get to the close, they're buying.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
really good question. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had
yeah. Go
sorry.
ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
go
No, go
for it.
ahead. For-
Go for it, Jafar.
It's just a couple of quick ones. In reference to the fact finding with the questions. I understand that you expect you want us to add a little bit of personality to the questions for us to make it as fluid when it comes to the conversation. Um, I'm just trying to understand how to. I mean, paraphrasing is not really going to be the issue for me. What I'm trying to understand is by paraphrasing, how can I limit myself to perhaps maybe going off on a tangent? Is
Go. You can. So the goal is to memorize the script first and
right.
the questions first. Once you know the fact find and the questions off by heart like the back of your hand,
Yeah.
then you can start coming off the cuff and paraphrasing and weaving in analogies and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, I used this analogy last week. Your favorite movie, the actors in that movie, they don't start improving straight away. What they do, they learn the script, memorize the script, internalize the script, become the character, then add their own personality on top.
Okay.
Same thing here.
So you learn the script and add your sauce, basically.
Yeah, and that you basically build your foundation, then put your decorations on top after.
Right.
That's how
Okay.
house is built.
I'm just one more question. I'm so sorry. I know got
That's
to ask
fine. It's
two.
fine.
Fine.
Um,
Fine.
when it comes to I mean, I'm just trying to understand also because we're so limited with time when it comes to the entire call. What's the time frame, roughly? What do you reckon for a successful fact find?
Cool. So the time frame is the sales call, 40% of the set heavy lifting in the sales call is fact find,
Hmm.
40% is close and objections,
Right.
20% is presentation. Now it sounds counterintuitive because most people think when you're presenting, you need to tell them everything about what you're
Everything, yeah.
doing. Presentation doesn't matter. The selling happens in the fact find. That's why when to answer Turan's question, where I say you're getting them to sell themselves on the idea of what it is that you do, all that's done here so you can breeze through a presentation. So a good fact find would be 10 to 15 minutes,
Right.
presentation 2 to 3 minutes, and then closing objections 10 to 15 minutes. And that should basically take you up to your 30-minute time frame.
Right. Okay. That's cleared a lot for me. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
presentation is like the simplest part of the call. Like you should not be spent if you spend more than 3 minutes on a presentation, you
They
fucked it
don't. Yeah, they
completely.
don't want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You bored a minute, basically. I get it.
100%.
Right. Okay.
Mm.
Turan, you've got more
Yeah.
questions?
Yes, I've got some simple questions and I've got some existential questions. I don't know how much time we have. Uh,
Give me the existential ones first. Let's get the hard ones done.
Ah, okay. All right. The hard ones. The first thing is, I feel like this is one of the questions from my messages to you. This sales process to me, for context, I come from software sales, so it was more consultative than just close it on the spot. So this sales process to me feels very intrusive, and if like sometimes prospects say repeatedly, like, okay, I'll have to check with my partner. I will need to know all the facts before I make a decision. I'll need to go back and check. They repeat this a few times, and then you keep pushing them to, asking questions. So would you still make a decision, or if we were on a yacht, will you make a decision? They're saying I need to go back to my partner, and you're saying we are on a yacht, and will you make a decision? And that kind of thing. So it just feels a bit
Cool.
intrusive. How do you deal with that? And how do you
Cool.
not to come across as pushy?
Number one, what would you say the main, few questions, what would you say the main reason someone doesn't buy?
Well, as I as I know, as I heard from the videos, that it's all money. It's all
If
about
it,
the money. People
if
don't want to, are not sure about spending the money. Money is a lot. If there were no money, they would buy it.
100%, if it was completely free,
Yeah,
bearing in mind you've gone 30 minutes on a call with them saying, yeah, I really want to do it, and then money's
right.
involved, all this
Yeah,
other stuff comes up.
Yeah.
If it was completely free, they would do it. So the
Yes.
fact that you've brought money in, all this other stuff comes up. Question number two, would you say all this other stuff is 100% real? In some cases it is, but would you say nine
So
times out of 10, all the other stuff like I need to think about it, partner, is 100% real?
I no, I guess no, I wouldn't say I 100% know that it's not real, but yeah, I guess so. Yeah, a lot
There's
of it comes. Yeah,
there's a high chance that it's just buyer psychology. They hear
yeah.
price, they get scared, and they run the other way. Now,
Or sorry to interrupt. I said, a lot of people like were aware. They know that this is a sales process. They would come in. They would come with their guard up. They know that after this conversation, by the end of this conversation, there is
there's going to be a
something.
close.
There, yeah, there'll be a close. Okay, so their guard is up
100%.
from the beginning. So
So
yeah,
now to go to the question
yeah,
of if it was free, they'd do it.
yeah.
Nine times out of 10, everything that comes up from close and money is basically bullshit. Number three, the only way it becomes intrusive is if you become intrusive. Most people on this call here have all had a sales call from me.
Hmm.
Some have been on with my team. At what point did I come across like a sleazy salesperson to anyone on this call?
Never.
Come on, guys.
No,
It's your
nothing.
time
No,
to shine.
never.
Nothing.
It didn't even
Nothing.
it didn't even feel like a sales call, I'll be honest with
Exactly.
you.
Exactly.
There
And
you
the
go.
most impressive part on my behalf was when I dive into the modules and I saw that whatever you're teaching us is the exact same thing that you use against us, okay? And it works against us, and it works. So that's what impressed me the most. So
Exactly. So,
I'm just applying it to the T, pretty much.
I think if it was being pushy, he wouldn't have said, "How can I help you?" at the start. It would have been more
Yeah.
like, "Right, here's what I can give you. Are you going to purchase? You're going to get straight into it without finding the facts first."
100%, 100%. I appreciate that from you guys as well. So Taran, the only way it's going to be intrusive is if you start becoming intrusive.
Right. Okay. So how? Okay. I'm just trying to understand how not to become intrusive, or just or how does one become intrusive?
So one becomes intrusive when they become desperate. You start
Right.
needing the sale, you start pushing harder onto them. The second you realize you don't actually need the sale and you trust your process, like I trust my process, I know as long as I follow my framework, I'm going to make a sale. So it's just trusting your process, trusting yourself, and also not becoming desperate. The second you become desperate, you become pushy.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay. So off the back of that, one question, like, what do you do? I'm sure you have faced people who've got their guard, who's closed up, who are closed up. They've got their guard up, and how do you deal with that? Do you continue the process the way you would with a normal prospect, or do you make any changes? How do you deal with that?
So you continue to process all the time. Now you'll
Right.
notice on the script, before you go into presentation, there's a question to them that you ask, where it's like, cool, I've asked you a ton of questions. What questions have you got for me?
Right.
The only reason someone won't buy is because they're skeptical and they have their guard up. And if they remain skeptical, they don't buy. The easiest way to remove that skepticism is to answer them questions and give them
Mm,
opportunities to ask questions. If
right.
you answer all of their questions competently, confidently, and articulate yourself very, very well, their guard immediately starts to drop. So it's just about giving them an opportunity to speak, ask the right questions that they want to get cleared up, knowing your shit, confidently
Mm.
answering their questions with your shit, and moving on.
Okay, got it. So, and here is Santino. I'm sure you've seen in your selling career all kinds of objections, outcomes of sales calls, and I'm just wondering, do you like have a repertoire of objections and the kind of questions people ask, that one can look through and just prepare objection handling to those? Yeah.
Yeah, so all objections are the same because
Right.
You've got fact find, case study, presentation, questions, close, and objections. Questions are different because that's product knowledge base. Objections are the same. Objections are all around them spending money to move forward with this
Mm.
thing. So if you scroll down to the bottom of the script, all the objections that you will ever get and all the objection handlers and answers that I personally use and have been using are all here as well.
Oh, nice. Okay, I haven't looked at this document yet. All right. Okay, fantastic.
So
Oh,
that's the first document, your framework in the resource pack.
right. Okay. All right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think, guys, please feel free to interject if you have other questions, other people. I don't want to hog the time. Selling. There was one more question. Oh, yeah, about the case study. So I often see, like, even in this call, I see people fumbling about the case studies. Why do we have to go and find the case study? Why do we not, like, kind of, have a link to the case study? Is there a is I don't know, is there a psychology behind that, or
Yes. So if you just have case studies ready to go, it looks planned.
right?
But if you go in and find the case, let me show you. Actually, let me show you something.
Mm,
And pull the case studies up. It doesn't look planned. It looks like you're speaking and you're like, actually, you know what? I've got something I need to show you. And then you show them. Now, your case studies are prepped. They're there. They're just not in order. So you just have to go scroll in and find them. It just removes that element of this is a staged call and this is scripted,
right.
basically.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what would you say is the best way to not fumble when you're like looking for case studies? Is it
Right.
just practice or?
Practice, yeah, practice.
Okay. All right. Last question. I see that like when you're building rapport, you've got like a very personal story. Oh, I don't know. Is it during the presentation or I can't remember which stage where you share your personal story with
Um,
people, you know?
That's after the presentation, the tail end of the presentation, it's material and emotional goal and goal reinforcement. So it's in the
Right.
goal reinforcement section. So the reason I share an emotional story at the end is to get them to share an emotional story on why they want to do this before I go for a close. Why? Because you always close at the height of impulse. People buy on emotion and justify with logic. So if I can get them emotionally involved before I go for a close, there's a higher chance of me closing them.
Great. Yeah. Okay. So my question is, what if I don't have an emotional story to share?
Then everyone's got a story.
Okay.
Everyone's got a reason why they want to do anything. They want to do anything existential in life.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, I just couldn't think of any like related to like money related emotional story, you know?
Cool.
So,
Have you heard of Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi?
of course, they
Cool.
are, yeah, on my feed all the time, both of them.
100%. So this is how I built my story. And it's a great task for everyone on the call as well. They do something called 7 levels deep, where they
Right.
write out their material goal. So I want to make £1 million a month, drive a Lamborghini, and live in a 20-bedroom mansion. Then they ask themselves why, and then write that why out. And then they ask themselves, why do I what then they ask themselves why again 6 more times. And the more
Right.
you ask yourself why, the harder
Mm.
it gets to answer, but also the more depth your why has. So then that last why at 7, your seventh why becomes your story. So this is why I want a Lamborghini, I want this, I want that, I want this. This is why, because I never had it before. I was deprived, I was an orphan, I lived on the streets, and I promised myself I'd never live that again, and my kids would, and my grandkids and my great grandkids would never have that again. They'd be set for life. That's my why. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell the orphan story. All right.
Santino, just while you were discussing it, I just thought before I don't have the opportunity to ask again, and it comes
No worries.
completely leaves my head. In your fact finding video in the module, you discussed and you mentioned that there's a principle of reflection. Now, what I'm trying to suss out while I'm practicing my fact find is how often do I do that with my answers?
Um, as often as you can.
I don't want to sound like I'm doing it all the time because I could do it every answer. Do you know what I mean? But I don't want to
Yeah,
sound
so
like,
yeah, so it's it's when it starts becoming natural to you. So I wouldn't focus on that yet. What I would focus for you, number one, is memorizing the
the
words on the
script, right?
script.
Okay. Okay, fair
And
enough.
then the rest will come natural. Rapport is built throughout the call, it's not built at a certain stage of the call. So
Okay.
sometimes the questions naturally sink in, like question, answer, that's natural. But sometimes where it's like, oh, I don't feel like I can go into that question yet. Let me build a little bit rapport. Oh yeah, you're going there on holiday. I just got back from the like
Mm,
finding something to latch on before you weave into the next question. As often as you can, but not too often to the point where you're in a 30-minute fact find when it should be 10 minutes.
yeah, that's why I was asking. Fair enough.
But I would memorize the questions first, and then maybe what a thing that I would do when you get there, don't do it yet, is
Right.
limit yourself to three acknowledgements. Oh fuck, going well over with three acknowledgements. Let me limit myself to two acknowledgements. Where am I going to place my acknowledgements? And then start weaving them into the script as well.
Okay, that's good advice. No worries, that's fine. Okay.
So it's all a framework. How many acknowledgements get you X result? How much time do they add on? If I remove them, how much time do they remove? How much time does that create for the rest
Because
of the
that's the variable I'm trying to work with. It's time in it. Right, no
yeah,
worries, that's fine.
that's the variable everyone needs to work with time because bearing in mind if you're back to back on calls 8 hours a day,
Yeah.
then it's like you need to be efficient.
Mm.
So it's a good question, but I would focus on questions, learning the questions, and then limit yourself to three acknowledgements once you know them, once you know the
Okay.
questions.
Cheers.
Cool. Any more questions before we wrap up?
I'll keep my questions for
Well,
tomorrow. So we have a call tomorrow, right?
We do, yes. 6:15
Fantastic.
tomorrow's call is.
Cool.
Santina will be next week on the list.
Yes, you are, Ashley. Yes, you sure are. Also on the list next week is Emmett again. Ricardo, you've passed. We've got Ross. We've got Dylan again. We've got Zach. We have Jafar. You're on there. Andre, Lucas, Ashley. Yes. Yeah. That's everyone.
Thank you.
Oh,
So
and Turan. Sorry.
Santino, can I be
Uh,
added? Can I be added to that list? Because I missed my slot when I was on holiday.
yes, of course you can. I actually had you on the list today.
Oh, that's awkward.
No worries. Cool. All added in. Cool. Any other questions,
Question.
guys? Yes, go, Ross.
And I'm still relatively new here, so I'm only a week in the course, so hi to everybody. But regarding these calls, how do I know when I'll be doing these, when I won't be doing these? Like, I obviously finish all the coursework first, so there's like 9 headings, 8 hours of work. I need to finish that work first. When do I know I'll be in this call? And then,
Good,
what?
good question. So the reason I haven't, how I tend to structure it, so new people will come on, have a look at people who are a week, 2 weeks ahead of them, and then learn from them. And then the following week, it'll be you. So next week, it's you. So all I need you to work on this week is just step one and the case study on the portal. And then once you do that, we'll then move into presentation. So you don't need to go through all the content. You just need to go through
Okay,
step one, step two, step three, basically at
okay.
intros.
I was bulling on with the content. I'll pause.
Yeah, just focus on introduction because if we can get the introduction done right, we can move on to
Perfect.
presentation.
No problem. Perfect. Perfect.
No
Thank you.
problem.
if I may ask, I got two questions for you. So regarding the presentation, am I on the list tomorrow or is it for the following week?
You're on the list tomorrow. I know you can't jump on till around half, so I'll put you as like third or fourth.
Okay, I'll be ready
Uh,
for tomorrow.
yeah,
Sure.
if you can make it on time, great, fantastic. But you're 100%.
Is it at 6? What time is the call? Sorry, 6 p.m.
6:15.
I'll be here tomorrow. I'm not working tomorrow.
Perfect. Yeah, 6:15.
So good. Yeah.
I'll bring it to 6. I've only moved it back for you.
I know. I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
truly do. You can do Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 6 p.m. if it helps you out, and everyone else, of course.
No problem.
Now, the second question I got for you, Santino, is regarding the book. I was just reading here the introduction. Obviously, this is my first sales program that I enroll. I'm actually quite pleased with the outcome. I'm absorbing everything like a sponge. If I do read this book, don't get like my question is, am I gonna get confused? How can I bring the knowledge from the book into a framework to improve myself?
Is that the gap selling book?
Yes, that's the one.
Read it. That book is weaved into the entire script.
Okay, that's exactly what I wanted to get at. Okay, that's the question. All right, brilliant. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Once you start reading that, you're going to be like, oh, fuck, now I realize why that's there and that's there, basically.
Okay.
So,
okay, all right. Thank you very much.
No problem. Yes, Grace. Last question.
When can we get the book then? Is it on Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon, gap selling.
Okay, no worries.
Let me put it in the chat. Gap selling by Keenan. There we go. If everyone wants to save that.
Thank you.
Perfect. Any more questions?
Thank you.
Santino, I have one last question, only asking because it's important. You've already answered it to someone else, but I just want to understand. So what I've been doing, like I started last week. So what I've been doing is just going through all the videos and stuff. It's just taking me enormous amount of time. And what is the method? Like you said, what do I get good at first?
Fact find.
Fact find. Okay, so just memorize the script.
Memorize the script and just watch the fact find video 100 times this week.
Oh my God. It took me 100 hours to watch it one time, you know?
Perfect. So now it'll take you 100
okay.
more.
Right. Okay. Fine. Thanks.
Cool. Right, guys. Catch you all tomorrow. Have a great evening and well done today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
See you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
guys.